this lecture, we're going to go over how to run arbitrary JavaScript inside of a virtual machine using Node.js. So I'm going to start by creating a new file in this miscellaneous folder called vm.js. So I'm going to go touch misc vm.js. I'm open up this file, and within here, I'm going to write a comment that this is an example VM running some arbitrary commands. We're only going to have one dependency, and that is that var VM is going to equal require VM, which gives us access to the virtual machine built into Node. The first thing we need to do is define a context for this script to run in. A context allows you to find a whole bunch of variables that will become available within the executing script when it runs out. So the context for us is just going to include a global called foo that equals 25. Now we want to define the script that should execute. So we're going to say script equals new vm.script. Now everything within here is arbitrary JavaScript, and this should be encapsulated by tick marks. So I'm going to put a tick mark at the beginning and at the end of this script. Now within here, we can just write whatever we want. I'm going to write that foo equals foo times 2, and that var bar equals foo plus 1, and that var fizz equals 52. Now we can actually tell the script to run, and after we run the script, we can log out the context again to see the results of that script having been run. So we want to run the script, which is going to say script that we defined above dot run in new context, and then we pass it this context that we created above. Remember, script is a new instance of vm.script, so it includes a bunch of functions that a normal string would not. So script run in new context, we pass it the context, and then we can simply log out, console log, whatever the context is now. Let's go ahead and run this script. Node miscellaneous /vm.js. You can see it ran, and then it logged out the context. The context now is that foo equals 50, that bar equals 51, and fizz equals 52. Why does foo equal 50? Because the context started with foo equaling 25. But as soon as we ran the script, we multiplied foo times 2 to make it 50. Bar we got from the existing value of foo, but we added 1. And fizz we defined statically to 52. So that is a brief overview of how you use the VM. If you have any reason to run arbitrary JavaScript code, either because you got it from a user, someone put it in and asked you to run it, or because you're trying to run your code in isolation to debug some issues or what have you, a VM might be a good choice. Obviously, you need to be very careful when you're running arbitrary JavaScript if you got it from an untrusted user, someone who wasn't, part of your team. But if you're building your own CI/CD tool to run your code or prepare it for production, maybe that would be a good use case. But just again, be very, very careful if you're allowing users to specify JavaScript that should be executed on your machine. If you want to, then this is how you would go about doing it. With that, we can move on to the next lecture.